You've been talking about the uproar surrounding this government's first 100 days. It's undeniable that the Labour Party was clear in their manifesto that they wouldn't increase national insurance. Yet, here we are. In the budget, there was no hint of that being on the table, and now we see them making moves in that direction. Let's not forget the looming threat of stripping up to 10 million pensioners of their winter fuel payments, something that wasn't part of their platform either. And let me just say, when it comes to tuition fees, I am firmly opposed to what Labour proposed. It reeks of politics of envy, though I must admit, they were transparent about that plan, even if I believe it to be fundamentally wrong. Now, winter fuel payments? They weren't mentioned at all. And Labour made an explicit promise not to raise national insurance. It's clear why they're in such disarray. Even many of those who voted for them are now feeling a sense of betrayal. Sure, people were tired of the Conservatives, I get it. But no one expected this government to be so shockingly bad at managing the country's affairs. Forget the broken promises for a moment. It's the handling of things that's just absurd. They swore up and down that they wouldn't take certain actions, but here they are doing just that. It's like they had 14 years to prepare, claimed they were ready, and yet we're seeing none of that readiness. Look at the footage of Keir Starmer before the election, where he confidently said they were ready to lead. If we're lucky enough to be elected, he said, we know what we're doing in every sector. Fast forward to now, and what have they accomplished? Nothing of substance. Keir Starmer, in his January speech, vowed to raise public standards and tackle cronyism, yet here we are, still mired in questions of corruption and mismanagement. It irritates me because all the accusations that were thrown at Boris Johnson, remember the scandals, the sleaze allegations, the trust issues, Labour is now neck-deep in their own mess. Lord Ollie, for instance, is a Labour peer with questionable ties. Back in 2013, he was bragging in the House of Lords about meeting with President Assad of Syria, lobbying against military action. Fast forward to today, and this same man seems to have a significant influence over a third of the current cabinet. It's troubling, to say the least. What were high-ranking civil servants and shadow cabinet members discussing in his luxury penthouse? Was it secure? This man's prior connections raise serious concerns, especially when it comes to national security. There are whispers that he even had a hand in recommending certain cabinet appointments. This situation demands answers, and Labour needs to come clean about Lord Ollie's role and influence. The public deserves to know. It's shocking that more people aren't asking questions, especially when it involves someone with ties to Assad having a hand in shaping Labour's leadership. And speaking of unanswered questions, let's talk about the recent deal involving a British military base in the Indian Ocean. Labour pushed through a 99-year lease agreement that could see a Chinese veto on a key strategic base. David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, assured Parliament the deal was done, but refused to disclose how much we're paying to lease back something we used to own. Who will foot that bill? The MOD? The Foreign Office? We don't know. They're dodging simple, critical questions about how much public money is being spent. Ellie Reeves, the Labour MP, seems to be following the same evasive script. She talked about closing loopholes for Tory handouts, but the Labour manifesto said nothing about this sort of national insurance increase that's now looming. If you go back and read their platform, it's clear they promised no rise in income taxes or national insurance for working people. Yet, that's exactly what's happening. It's becoming evident that Labour's talk about working people was just a cover. The national insurance rise is set to hit businesses hard, and it's a direct violation of their manifesto promise. This kind of move discourages investment and jobs in the UK. And what about their so-called missions? One of them is to achieve the highest sustained growth rate in the G7. How do they plan to achieve that? By making it more expensive for businesses to hire people. Raising employer national insurance is a surefire way to hurt jobs and growth. So, yes, Labour has some serious questions to answer, whether it's about Lord Ollie, the national insurance hike, or their shady deal on the military base. The country deserves transparency, and it's clear they're not getting it.